Liverpool are ready to shock world football with a record-breaking move. If you want the fastest, most reliable Liverpool transfer news, hit subscribe now and never miss a story from Anfield.
News headline: Liverpool transfer news. Joel Ordóñez move timeline as Reds target ex-Real Madrid ace. Liverpool are being linked with several possible new signings as the January transfer window continues to provide rumors and speculation. The Reds have just 3 weeks to wrap up any deals they want to get over the line before the deadline on February 2nd. Arne Slot's side are currently in 4th place in the Premier League, but will take a break from league action this week as they take on Barnsley at Anfield in the 3rd round of the FA Cup on Monday night. There has already been one new signing confirmed by Liverpool this month, with the Reds announcing the arrival of Mour Talan Diaye last week. The 18-year-old will be expected to link up with the club's under-21 side after his arrival on Merseyside. With the January transfer window now open, Liverpool have the chance to strengthen their squad with more new signings should they wish to do so. Crystal Palace defender Mark Guéhi has been heavily linked with a move to Anfield ever since the summer, and it remains to be seen if Liverpool will revisit their interest before the deadline. Liverpool monitors Serie A defender. Liverpool are reportedly one of several clubs expressing an interest in signing Jacopo Ramon, who plays as a defender for Serie A outfit Como. Caught Offside have reported that Liverpool are being joined by Chelsea, Newcastle, Tottenham Hotspur, Crystal Palace, and Brighton in having an interest in signing Ramon. Liverpool are mentioned in the report as having been monitoring Ramon with a view to a potential move, although it's not been stated if this would come this month or in the summer. Ramon only signed for Como last summer from Real Madrid and has already impressed during his time at the Italian club. Joel Ordóñez timeline emerges. Liverpool are reportedly planning to wait to make their move to sign Club Brugge defender Joel Ordóñez. According to Football Insider, the Reds will not make an offer to sign Ordóñez during this month's transfer window and will instead wait until the summer to make their move. The Reds have been heavily linked with signing a center-back this month ever since summer signing Giovanni Leone suffered a season-ending knee injury on his debut back in September. Liverpool were also handed a fresh injury blow this weekend after it emerged that Connor Bradley will miss the rest of the season with a knee injury he picked up in the draw with Arsenal on Thursday night.
News headline: Mikel Arteta sums up Gabriel Martinelli personality after response to Liverpool criticism. Gabriel Martinelli bounced back with an FA Cup hat-trick against Portsmouth just days after apologizing to Liverpool defender Connor Bradley, earning praise from Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta lauded Gabriel Martinelli's big personality following his FA Cup hat-trick that secured Arsenal's place in the 4th round. Martinelli netted his maiden hat-trick for Arsenal with his first goals in the competition just 3 days after finding himself at the center of controversy involving Liverpool's Connor Bradley. The Gunners winger publicly apologized after attempting to pull Connor Bradley off the pitch during Arsenal's goalless draw at the Emirates, insisting he hadn't realized the Liverpool defender was seriously injured. But Martinelli made his football do the talking a few days later as he starred in the FA Cup win over Portsmouth. Arsenal boss Arteta said, "That's why to play for a big club you need a big personality, because it can be bad, it can be an action that you miss, it can be something that costs you a game. And 3 days later, there is a game, so you need to lift yourself up and make it count. It's part of football, and then it's how you take it." But he knew inside the reason why he did what he did. I think Arne Slot spoke brilliantly after the game, speaking of your opponent in the manner that he explained the situation, and the fact that Gabby had no intention whatsoever to damage any player. His personality is to come in and talk on the pitch, which is the best part of it. I love it. Gabby, in every context that you throw him in, he plays, he doesn't play, he performs well, not well. Today he scored 3 goals, reports the Mirror. Remarkably, Brazilian star Martinelli managed to score 2 goals from corners with near-post headers, continuing Arsenal's reputation as set-piece specialists. However, Arteta revealed that Martinelli had predicted he would score from a set-piece the day before the match. Arteta mentioned that he anticipates an update on injured defender Piero Incapié on Monday after he was forced to leave the pitch during the Liverpool match, while Kai Havertz, who is now fit again, made a return as a substitute at Portsmouth. Arteta continued, "We had some great positive things today, obviously winning the match and being in the next round. Kai, after so many months and all the effort that he's put in to be back fit and looking like he's done that. Probably tomorrow we'll know a little bit more on Incapié, where he's at. Obviously, he has to come up. He's never had a good sign, but hopefully it's not too much."
News headline: I scouted Darwin Núñez and joined Liverpool after scoring famous FA Cup goal. Former Liverpool and Barnsley striker Lee Jones speaks exclusively to the Echo ahead of Monday night's FA Cup third-round tie between his two former clubs. When Liverpool welcomed Barnsley to Anfield in the FA Cup third round on Monday night, former Wales international Lee Jones will be one of the more interested observers as his two old clubs lock horns. The 52-year-old spent 5 years with the Reds in the 90s, but the striker found himself behind the likes of Ian Rush, Robbie Fowler, and Stan Collymore in the pecking order. Departing for Tranmere Rovers in 1997, where he'd play under Liverpool legend John Aldridge, he then spent 2 years with Barnsley at the turn of the millennium before returning to Wrexham for a fourth stint with his boyhood club, having moved to Anfield from the Welsh outfit in 1992 in the first place. Jones is looking forward to seeing Barnsley take on Liverpool, and with Wrexham already through to the FA Cup fourth round, courtesy of a penalty shootout victory over Nottingham Forest on Friday night, is already hopeful of being mixed allegiances again in the next round. Yeah, it's a really good tie, isn't it? As a football fan, everybody looks forward to the FA Cup third round, Jones said in an exclusive interview with the Echo. I think it's a really exciting tie, and obviously both teams will fancy their chances on the day. It'd be nice if Wrexham actually got either Liverpool or Barnsley in the next round. Obviously, that'd be 2 games that have involved 2 former teams of mine, so they're both fixtures that I'll look out for. I would probably say I'd back Wrexham first and foremost. Obviously, Liverpool is close to my heart because I spent 5 years there, which was a large chunk of my career. But Barnsley as well. I really enjoyed my time there. I was at Tranmere when I'd finished at Liverpool, and Dave Bassett phoned me up just towards the end of my career there. He said Craig Hignett was leaving, and they were looking for a replacement. At the time, they'd just missed out on promotion to the Premier League by getting beaten by Ipswich in the playoff final. It was a move I couldn't turn down. I had a couple of options. I just thought to myself it was an ideal opportunity to try and get back in the Premier League. But I always look out for the 3 scores, Wrexham, Liverpool, and Barnsley, and also Tranmere Rovers, who obviously I used to play for as well. My first 12 months at Tranmere were probably the most I've enjoyed my football. And if you can't learn off a goal scorer like John Aldridge, you're never going to learn anything in football. Every day, he constantly strived for you to get better, and he took us forwards for finishing practice every single day that we were there. He was still the best finisher, even at 38 at the time. He was a fantastic player. Jones has fond memories of the FA Cup from his own playing days, having been part of the Wrexham side that famously knocked out First Division champions Arsenal in 1992, before scoring in the next round against West Ham United. Joining Liverpool in a $300,000 deal only a few months later, Jones believes such occasions ultimately opened the door to his move to Anfield. I've got a couple of highlights in the FA Cup, he recalled. I was involved at Wrexham when we beat Arsenal in 1992. We were bottom of the English pyramid, 92nd in the Football League, and Arsenal were the current champions, and we beat them 2-1 at the racecourse. And then in the following game, I came on sub for Wrexham against West Ham and scored to equalize at 2-2. Unfortunately, we got beat 1-0 in the replay. But yeah, I've got some good memories. I got the move to Liverpool based on the FA Cup goal against West Ham, I think. Graham Souness came to watch me about 3 or 4 weeks later, playing for Wrexham, and then ended up signing me in the March at Liverpool. So I must have done something quite well in between to get the move to Liverpool. An absolutely fantastic club, played for some fantastic coaches, and with some unbelievable players as well. It was a surreal moment to join Liverpool. We were on a day off. I played on the Tuesday and scored, and then on a Wednesday I was at my girlfriend's house in the evening. My mom phoned and said could I get home ASAP. And then I remember walking back around 5 in the evening and the chairman's car was parked outside my house, and no one ever really spoke to the chairman. I walked in and the manager and the chairman were both there. They said to me, "Liverpool want to sign you. We're not going to push you out. You don't have to go, but it would help us financially hugely if you did. We are under a little bit of stress in terms of finances." And I just felt they were obviously one of the biggest, if not the biggest clubs in the world. I couldn't say no to Liverpool. And it was a sort of byproduct of helping Wrexham financially as well, and giving me my chance in football. Jones has enjoyed a varied career since hanging up his playing boots in 2013. He joined Altrincham as assistant manager last October, having previously held the same role at Wealdstone. But prior to that, he'd enjoyed stints in charge of Tranmere Rovers Academy, as well as scouting positions with Burnley and Middlesbrough. But coaching is always what he wanted to do, and while National League North side Macclesfield made the biggest headlines in the FA Cup third round this weekend, knocking out holders Crystal Palace, he's eyeing a push for the National League playoffs next season ahead of any domestic cup romance of their own. I'm really enjoying it. I spent around 6 months as assistant manager at Wealdstone with Neil Gibson, and then we got the opportunity to go in Altrincham as interim manager and assistant manager. We picked up, I think, it was 4 wins and a draw in our first 6 games, and then took the job permanently. Our contracts are for another 18 months. We're just trying to change a few things around at the club at the moment in terms of players in and out, so hopefully we'll get it right and we can have a push on for the playoffs next season. He continued, "My post-playing career has been fantastic. I've always wanted to stay in football. Coaching was always something that I wanted to stay in. When I retired, I set myself a target to become a pro license holder in the first 5 years. I accomplished that around 2012, so I've always been a pro license holder since then. And then an opportunity came along to do a little bit of recruitment, and it was just a bit of a break from the day-to-day norm and the pressure of having to win on a Saturday. It was nice to obviously go out, watch players, spend probably 2 or 3 years abroad in terms of where I was watching my football, so my network increased hugely over that period, and it's benefited me now in terms of going back in as a coach. I can call on people, and when we're looking at players, I can obviously tap into those people, and hopefully we can bring 1 or 2 players in for Altrincham. Now a coach in the National League, the players he would be able to help recruit for Altrincham are admittedly from a rather different talent pool than the players he was scouting for Burnley and Middlesbrough. Former Liverpool striker Darwin Núñez was one player on Jones's radar during his time with the Clarets, but while it's one thing identifying a talent, it's another matter entirely seeing your club actually go on to sign them. "There's absolutely loads I spotted," he recalled. "For instance, we were watching Darwin Núñez when he was at Benfica when I was at Burnley, Tijani Reyners, who's now at Man City, Mohamed Kudus, who was at West Ham and is now at Tottenham. So there's absolutely loads that you look at when they're young, and then you see them going along their different career paths, now playing in the Premier League. You do spot some gems, to be fair, but obviously at the time it's whether the club can afford them and whether the player actually wants to come to Burnley, as it was, or Middlesbrough."
News headline: Liverpool take drastic Ibrahima Konaté decision as contract runs down. Liverpool have got a contract problem to solve over Ibrahima Konaté. The Frenchman, signed in 2021 for £35 million from RB Leipzig, is out of contract at the end of the current season. If no new deal is agreed, then the France international will be leaving on a free in summer 2026. Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich are among the teams linked with signing the 26-year-old on a lucrative Bosman deal. Real Madrid were believed to be leading the chase for Konate, but apparently backed out of the move a couple of months ago. Rudiger injured for Real Madrid once again. Los Blancos were left unconvinced by Konaté's inconsistent performances this season, a far cry from his form which helped win the Premier League title for the Reds back in 2024-25. Madrid are currently in action at the Spanish Super Cup mini-tournament in Jeddah, where they face Barcelona in the final on Sunday night. During the week, Xabi Alonso's side overcame their city rivals Atletico Madrid in the semifinals, earning their place in the showpiece event. But Madrid were left counting the costs of injuries, with Antonio Rudiger once again among the players reporting a complaint. Liverpool offered Konate to Real Madrid. The 32-year-old is out of contract at the end of the current season too, and the German is widely expected to be replaced at the heart of the Madrid defense. Any injury in the short term leaves the 15-time European champions short at the back, however, and according to sources in Spain, they have been offered the chance to do a January deal for Konate. Defensa Central is reporting that Real Madrid were offered Konate in a €20 million, £17 million deal by Liverpool in order to cover Rudiger's injury and add to the club's options until the end of the season. But Madrid have turned down those overtures from Anfield, sticking to their plan of moving for other centre-back targets reported to include Nico Schlotterbeck and Marc Guehi. Liverpool may well be receptive to a bid this January if they are resigned to the fact that Konate is leaving on a free. They may be able to claw back some of the initial fee they put down for Konate 5 years ago and plow the proceeds into a deal for a replacement in the shape of Guehi or Joel Ordóñez.
News headline: Liverpool ready to smash transfer record and sign world-class superstar for £156 million. Report. A new transfer report claims that Liverpool are willing to offer a club record £156 million to complete the signing of Real Madrid superstar Jude Bellingham. The Reds were linked with Bellingham before he sealed a move to Madrid back in the summer of 2023, with the England international preferring to test himself at the Santiago Bernabeu. Since then, the 22-year-old has continued to establish himself as one of the biggest names in world football, winning the Champions League and still having so much of his career ahead of him. According to a report from Spain, Liverpool are now happy to submit a stunning £156 million offer for Bellingham, but Madrid don't appear to be open to the idea of selling him. It would smash the Reds' transfer record set by Alexander Isak last summer in what would be a major statement of intent by the reigning Premier League champions. Is Jude Bellingham a viable option for Liverpool? Bellingham's talent is undeniable, with the midfielder already achieving so much in his growing career, being hailed as world-class by Gary Neville in the past. The idea of him in a Liverpool shirt is a mouth-watering prospect, but in truth it is extremely difficult to see the transfer coming to fruition. There is little reason why Madrid would want to sell such a key man, one who has 43 goals and 32 assists in 123 appearances for the Spanish Giants, and it could be argued that the money needs to be spent on other more pressing positions. Centre-back has to be Liverpool's main priority in the current and summer transfer window, while another top-quality winger is also required. Granted, if the chance arises for the Reds to sign Bellingham, it is a piece of business that they should be looking to seal, but as mentioned, it would be a shock if it happened. It could be that he decides to return to the Premier League at some point later in his career, but for now it feels likely that his career will continue in Spain. Liverpool already have Florian Wirtz to flourish in the number 10 role and plenty of superb midfield options, so focus doesn't need to be on him at the moment.